Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. According to the Bible, the first norm, the first law that God instructed the Jewish people in Egypt was the establishment of a calendar, the month, that in this month you were liberated from Egypt. And then came also an order to take sheep and to offer it as a sacrifice and to consume that meat the night that they were going to leave Egypt. And then there's another. It says, Vehigadeta levincha bayom hahu. On that day, you have to tell your son what happened to you. In other words, tell him a story. This is also an obligation of that same night. Now, if one goes to a Jewish home to celebrate Passover, which is the anniversary of the Exodus from Egypt, he will eat matzah, he will eat the bread of affliction, he will eat maror, bitter herbs. But the central part really is the Haggadah, the story, the narrative of what happened to our ancestors in Egypt before and so on. Why is that so important? As a matter of fact, in every home there's usually a booklet. I myself have published two of them, one for an Ashkenazi version and one a Sephardic version. The Sephardic version has a translation into Ladino, the original text, translation, and my comments on the narrative of what happened that night, the history of the Jewish people. Why is that so important? Well, it seems that to know where you come from gives you a sense of identity. You're not just a point in space. You're really part of a continuum. We start that night saying that our ancestors were really idol worshippers until eventually they recognized the existence of one God. We were slaves in Egypt. God took us out of Egypt. The narrative, you're part of a story. I remember a very beautiful woman here in Miami. She had been, I think, beauty queen in Israel. Very elegant woman. She was married to a man who was very prosperous and so on. Yet, her face somehow manifested some sadness. There wasn't happiness emanating from her face. She was very pretty. As I say, she was some kind of beauty queen at one time. You know what was the problem? She had been an orphan. And to this day, she did not know who her parents were. She didn't have any family history. Somehow she felt she doesn't belong, really. She's married, but she doesn't belong. She doesn't have a history. She doesn't have a past, in a sense that influences your future as well. I think there is a book that I read not too long ago. It's called The Secrets of Happy Families by Bruce Feiler. He arguments that those children that know their family history feel sure about themselves. In our school in Caracas, we had a program called My Roots, where each and every student had to ask his parents, his grandparents, what is the history of the family, and write up where he comes from. It gives you a sense of belonging. I know a member of our family whose parents are no longer there and feels that, too bad I didn't ask my mother this and this detail. She asked her many things, but there are many things that are missing. She'd like to know more about the family history. In other words, the narrative, history, makes you belong, gives you a self-identity as part of a certain group, and that gives you inner strength. So maybe this is one of the strong points of Passover, that it tells us that we belong to a group who were slaves. We were idolaters, but we recognized one God, and we came out of Egypt, and we received the Torah. I am part of that group. That gives you a great sense of self-worth, of knowing who you are. So Haggadah, to repeat the story in Egypt, is not only to tell a story, to tell a narrative, to tell something that happened thousands of years ago. It gives you the secrets of who you are, where you belong, and you are part of that, and makes you proud of being a part of the Jewish people.